What's going on, everybody? It's your life and wellness coach, Charles Johnson from Beyond Wellness Podcast. Tonight, we have a great conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about what we call the KISS principles, which is keep it simple, stupid, the fitness edition. All right. Tonight's conversation, this one here is for everybody who has ever just said, I don't even know where to start. I need the perfect plan. I got to get everything lined up before I even get started. Nah, not today. We're going to change that up real quick because somewhere along the way, fitness has got way too complicated. People are out here thinking they need 30 exercises, 2 hours of workouts, a meal plan from NASA, PhD, and fitness science just to lose 10 pounds. Meanwhile, the basics have always worked well for everybody. So tonight, we're going to break it down for you. But I'm not doing this alone. I'm not doing it by myself, guys. Not tonight. I've got a special guest with me and someone who's in the trenches, working with people every day within this fitness realm, helping them get results right away. My special guest, she's a personal trainer out of the Binghamton, New York area. It's my good friend, Carrie. All right. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Carrie's in the building, guys. It's going to be a party tonight. It's going to be a party tonight. You're going to learn a lot. We're going to get a lot out of this. All right, everybody settle down. I know everybody's excited to hear what we got to say. So, all right. So, Carrie, go ahead, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are, what you do, and how you can help folks stop overthinking and start moving.
I am BC Fit Carrie. I am located at BC Fit on Front Street in Binghamton. I'm a certified personal trainer through NASM, and I have a specialty in senior fitness and behavior change.
All right. There we have it, guys. We've got the real deal here. And we're going to ask each other some questions. We're going to have a great conversation. Everybody's going to get something out of this. I guarantee it. So one of the first questions, actually, I wanted to start with you, Carrie, is why do you think people overcomplicate fitness when the basics have always worked?
I think people chase the trends, what's flashy. They're looking for the instant results. And if they do this big fancy workout, they're going to get the results just like the people that are doing the videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things that I notice is that people get so caught up in the trends and they don't have really a structured program. And they're just jumping around from workout to workout to workout and never really consistently doing something long enough to get the benefits or the benefits out of the workout.
And that's the thing too, is when people don't stick to something in particular and they're jumping around, it's harder to track the progress, whether it be your strength or weight loss, because you're not giving your body that time. And it doesn't happen in a week or two.
Right.
It takes time.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize this is that there's a process of adaptation that has to take place, right? Your body has to start getting used to something. And once it starts to get comfortable, you have to then switch it up. You're not supposed to be switching it up every day, every week. When it's inconsistent, the body just says, well, I don't know what you're trying to do. And then your gains are minimum at best.
And you're more prone to injury too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you're jumping the gate and you're trying to look cool and you're putting on those heavy weights and you're not engaging the muscles that you were intending to necessarily. And yeah, you're more prone to injury. I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have.
Don't worry about what's cool. Just do what's comfortable for you and don't think about anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it takes a lot of mind-body connection when you're doing certain exercises. When I was doing a lot more in-person personal training, one of the things I always would talk to clients about is when you're doing the exercise, you have to focus on the muscle group that you're trying to isolate or trying to hit, right? So typically, especially when I'm dealing with, let's say, high school boys all want to do bench press, right? And a lot of times all they're doing is dropping that weight on their chest and bouncing it off their chest. And they're doing all kinds of just, I don't know, craziness, where I'm saying you got to slow down, slow the tempo, control the weight on the negative, press through, right? Squeeze at the top, right? So you have to really feel those muscles working. And
under tension.
Time under tension, absolutely. And what people don't realize, The back muscles are even harder to isolate because you can't see them, right? So you really have to feel for them. The front muscles that everybody sees in the mirror, the pretty ones, everybody knows what they're doing there, right? Because they're watching themselves either do curls or presses or overhead presses. But when you have to engage
Okay.
that back muscles, you really have to have a mind body connection to it. When you're doing, say, a lat pull down and you're coming down, you want to squeeze those shoulder blades down and back. And a lot of people just pull with their arms and they're not necessarily engaging those muscles. Until you can learn that, there's no need to do 50,000 different exercises and not really learn the form, the technique, and how to isolate muscle groups.
Yeah, because you're there for a certain amount of time. Say you come into the gym 30 minutes, you want it to be quality 30 minutes. So it's not about the quantity of what you're doing, it's about the quality of what you're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think the biggest mistake beginners make when they start a workout routine?
I call it around the world, where they just come in and they go around all the machines and just kind of on their phone and just doing things real quick and trying to hurry and do all the machines and they leave instead of just picking a small set of exercises and just being in that moment, making the mind muscle connection, time under tension, and just being intentional
Yes.
with what you're.
Great point. Yeah, being intentional is key, right? Because you don't want to just kind of run through everything just to say you did it. You want to make sure you have very specific goals that you're trying to accomplish and you want to focus on those exercises, those movements when you are doing these things because if not, I mean, I don't want to say the workout has been wasted, but you're not maximizing the workout to get the most out of it.
Exactly. And there, even with the basics, you can do simple things like you were talking about with tempo. You can change the tempo that you do. You can do pauses at the end of each rep. That's one of my favorites. Maybe if you're not ready to increase weight yet or increase reps or sets, you can just do simple 2 or 3 pauses on things like a hamstring curl. I love doing those, but my clients don't like that. Really holding, thinking about it. And by doing that pause, it gives you that minute to kind of reconnect back into it instead of just you're there just performing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, if someone's restarting after a long layoff, what should they focus on first? What do you think they should focus on first?
Being realistic about their time, how much time they have to commit to what they want to do. A lot of people like to overcommit. I'm gonna go at it 5 days a week, and that's the wrong answer. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna be overwhelmed. You're not gonna get the results that you want. So I think being realistic about the time that you have to offer
Hmm.
and just set a habit. Like I always tell people, come in 2 days a week. Just get on the treadmill, just take a walk for 2 days a week and just get into that habit. And then just start simple.
Yeah, yeah. I agree there. Simple to me is always best because I there's this I don't know, metaphor, I guess it is, that I always use is that how do you eat a 2-ton elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with the whole elephant, right? So what you need to do is you break up that elephant in smaller parts, just like your workouts. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with the hardest workout, the most complicated workout, the strictest meal plan, things like that. Because what ends up happening is you're just like, wow, this is just too much. My brain cannot wrap itself around all of this, what I'm trying to do. So you either quit or you don't even start.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that I talk to, they feel like they need to come into the gym for 2 hours. And there are some people that do that. They're usually talking more than they're working out. But it's not about it's you can get more of the results you want with a shorter workout with a better intensity than you can with a longer. You're there for 2 hours and you're not really putting the effort into it.
How do you know when workout your let me start that over again. Sorry. How do you know when your workout plan is too complicated?
When you feel like you have to kind of rush to cram it all in,
Mm.
that's too much. You can do as little as, I'm in and out of the gym in 40, 45 minutes, an hour if I'm a little slow at 5 a.m.
Mm.
But you can do a good workout in 30, 40 minutes
Yeah.
if you're intentional about what you do and you're focused. And you can I do mornings like 6 exercises. I find that to be plenty. I'm lifting a higher weight with a lower rep. So really focus intensity.
Yeah, and the big thing I think with like those smaller number of exercises and you're using bigger compound movements, overall, you're going to get more out of those movements full body wise, right? So if we're talking about deadlift, squats, bench, overhead presses, maybe push presses, cleans, things like that, that's going to require more of your body to be taxed. It's you don't need 30x, like you said, you can get away with six, and you those six can be solid all the way around.
Yeah, with good form and good
Mhm.
focus, that's all it takes. And the squat is a very functional movement. It's something you need throughout life. And I think people overcomplicate it because they think they see all these people with the big barbells and big weights, but it can start with something simple as just a simple goblet squat, or for older people, like a sit to stand
Yes.
goblet squat.
Yeah, because there's many variations of the squat that you can do. And again, you don't have to have 17 squat movements in one workout. You find two or
Yes.
three, and I mean, to be honest with you, that can be good enough. And obviously, as you advance, as you get better, as you go from beginner to intermediate to more advanced lifting, you can throw in more volume. You can throw in different things. I know one of the things that might as well bring it up now is the FIT principles, right? And if anybody doesn't know what the FIT principle is, it's an acronym that goes FITT, which stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type. Frequency just meaning how often are you working out? Intensity, how hard you're working out, right? Time, how long you're going to work out for, and type, meaning what type of workout are you going to do? Are you doing powerlifting, bodybuilding, overall conditioning? Are you doing full body workouts? Are you doing upper, lower, different types of splits, cross training? So it all depends. And what you need to do is change those variables throughout your workout program, right? So your protocol, if it's just, let's say, a basic bench workout, because I power lift, right? So the bench press has always kind of been my thing. And with the bench press, sometimes I need higher volume to get something more out of it, right? If I say, well, I'm trying to build more muscle right now during this phase, I'm going to do probably more volume. I'm probably going to go to failure. If I'm looking at powerlifting, just moving some heavier weight, my rep range drops, my volume may even drop a little bit too, where I'm not doing so much. And I'm not looking to necessarily go to failure throughout every workout or any of my powerlifting workouts. I may say my reps may be 3 reps and that's it. And then as I'm building up to, say, a competition, I'm working on getting to that 1 rep max. I may start with like 80% of my max and work my numbers through there. And then hopefully over time, I'm doing more weight. I'm pushing the earth.
And that's the thing too, is taking time with that progression. It doesn't happen necessarily every time you go or every week. Take your time with it, listen to your body so you don't injure yourself is important. Or you're trying to keep up with somebody else at the gym,
That's big, right?
take your time with it.
Yeah, because I think that's the other
Mm.
thing. I think we always push ourselves because we see somebody else, but we're trying to start our chapter 2 at their chapter 20, right? They
Exactly.
may be already so far ahead of us, but we're saying, that's where I need to be. I was like, no, 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 no. You do you, stay at your chapter 2 and progress, right? The chapter 3, chapter
Build
4.
up.
Yeah, build up because we don't all start at the same place. That's one big thing.
And for type too, like type of exercise, I feel like everybody is like, this is the best type of
Mhm.
exercise. And everybody's different. Like even as a trainer, I do a lot of cables, dumbbells, barbells, but there's other trainers that will do more like balance focused stuff.
Right.
And then you have trainers that do more powerlifting stuff. Like everybody has what works for them, you
Right.
know? Like I'm not the best with kettlebells. I know that. I don't do a lot of it. I should try. Finding something you enjoy doing. So if you force yourself to do an exercise you don't like because that's what's cool and what somebody else is doing, you're not gonna be consistent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why do you think people kind of jump back into their old fitness level too fast? Like if someone's had a layoff for 6 months or a year and they say, hey, I'm going to go right back to what I was doing a year ago. And then I always feel like people set themselves up for injury that way.
Yep, perfect story. This person will know who they are. Is before I was a trainer, when I first started working out, they showed me how to do lifting. And that was 5 years ago. They got out of the gym and they decided a couple years later, I'm gonna get back into it. And they did the same exact weight that they did 5 years ago, right out of the gate,
Yeah.
injured their shoulder, and now they're not going to the gym because their shoulder hurts, and they're afraid to get back into it.
Right, right. Yeah, because that can definitely, uh, yeah, take the I don't know what you want to say there, but that can that can definitely deter you from going any further or do anything else, right? Because now you've got this fear, right? And then
Yeah.
there's this doubt, and yeah, it plays these mind games with you when all of a sudden you're like, oh man, why am I not where I used to be? Why am I not doing the same thing I could do before? Why is my recovery taking so much longer? Because I ran into that myself
Yeah.
when I was doing well, obviously you know this is that I got onto this whole weight loss journey type thing where I was like, listen, my health right now is not good. And I definitely saw it declining during COVID. My body weight went all the way up to about 340 pounds. And I was like, "Oof, man, I'm hurting right now, hurting turkey." And with my weight being that heavy, I started running into certain health concerns, right? Cardiovascular things, obesity, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. My doctor says, "Hey, big boy, you trying to be around, right? You got kids, you got grandkids, you're going to want to be around for that. So we're going to have to get this weight off of you." And he wasn't lying because I was suffering with also inflammation, low self-esteem because just the way my strength wasn't there, my recovery wasn't there. It's taken me forever. Like I would go sometimes do a workout on a Sunday and I couldn't do another workout till Friday. So I'm doing 2 workouts a week and I'm like, this ain't getting it. And my blood work wasn't looking good and all kinds of things. And then eventually, obviously, I dropped the weight. I'm down to like 248. And now I'm like, okay, like you're saying, I gotta have purpose. I gotta have
Yeah.
discipline. I gotta have a reason why I'm doing these things. And with that all being said, all of a sudden the type 2 diabetes, it kind of, I guess you can call it in remission, right? The blood pressure, the cholesterol all improved. And I realize now,
Patience.
say again?
Patience and persistence and consistency.
Absolutely. All of those things. All of those things. And I kind of even changed the how I lifted, right? Because I was really focused on just doing powerlifting all the time, where I said, okay, so I started doing more hit workouts. I started doing more kettlebell workouts. I found that the weight was coming off a lot easier, a lot.
Building that muscle.
Absolutely. It was, man, the muscle was fired up. I'm telling you, boy, the muscles were fired up. And once I started getting back into it, started dropping the weight, got down to like right now, I'm like 248. I feel like, man, I'm getting back to my old fighting weight, man, I'm not to be played with right now. Right. So, now
And that's the hard thing. We want those results like quick. That's the thing. We want those results like yesterday.
we do, right? And for me, it took over a year. It's been a year and a half. So it took me a while to get this weight off. So I tell everybody, keep it simple, build over time, be consistent, just like you're saying, and be intentional in everything that you're doing. Not just even with your workouts, but with what you're eating, how much sleep you're getting, all of those things. You have to be very mindful of those things because if you're only doing one thing or doing another, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. You're not going to get the outcome that you're looking for.
And you have to let your body rest too. That's an important part of your journey too, is the rest period. Let your body take a break. Don't overdo it. The more you do all the time, people think if I just do more, the results will happen quicker. And it doesn't work that way. You have to let your body regenerate and rest.
Absolutely. What do you think? What's more important for results? Do you think consistency or intensity?
Boy, that's the tough
Yeah,
one. If I had to pick,
yeah,
I would say consistency.
yeah. You know what? I'm probably leaning towards consistency myself too, right? Because I think you can work hard, right? Raise that intensity, but if you're only raising the intensity once or twice a week, I'm like,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to get the same outcome or the same results that you're looking for. If I'm consistent 4 or 5 days a week and my intensity is lower, I know I'll get more out because one thing with consistency is it's more sustainable, right? If I'm consistent, no,
Exactly.
I'm not working out at a high intensity all the time. I know this is sustainable. If I go high intensity, there's going to be certain days, certain points I've said, man, I'm not doing this. This is bull.
Yeah, I can't do that today. I'm just not going to go. I can't do that today. And then Before you know it, you're not really going all the time, or then you just stop going. I've seen that happen a lot too. People burn themselves out so quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
The schedule an appointment with yourself is what I tell people.
say that again.
The gym time is your schedule an appointment with yourself. The gym time is your time for you to refill your cup. It's not just about making muscles. It's about mentally feeling better and just getting excited to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So if someone's listening right now and they want to start tomorrow, what is the simplest way for them to begin? What do you think?
Just show up. Just walk in the door. And the gym I work at, everybody's super friendly and super helpful. Don't be afraid to ask somebody for help with something. If you're going to the right gym, they'll be willing to help you.
Right.
That's how I got started.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just walk on the treadmill, take a few minutes, walk on the treadmill.
Yeah. Cause I feel like you don't have to do much. You don't have to do much. Like you said,
You're just building that pattern. Like every Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to go to the gym. And then once you got that pattern, then you just start building out that pattern, just like you're going to build off your exercises.
all right. So one of the things that I always like to talk about, and I think it's important when we're talking about everything that we're doing, right? Everything that we're building up to is capacity, right? And more specifically, fitness capacity, right? When you hear the word capacity, what comes to mind in regards to fitness for you?
How far you're willing to push yourself beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And matter of fact, I will piggyback off of that and even say fitness capacity is your current ability, right, to handle physical or mental stress from exercise consistently without falling apart, right? Because you don't want to push yourself, you want to push yourself past a little bit of that comfort, but you don't want to push yourself where you break and then you just throw your hands
Yeah.
up, man, I don't want to do this. This is too much, right? And it's the most important part of that fitness capacity is where you're at currently, because you're not at the same place you were a year ago. If you were working out a year ago and then stop, you can't just jump right back into that. Start where you're currently at and build
Yeah.
capacity, right? And I think
Sometimes it's just one extra rep,
that's it.
just that one extra rep or that one extra set to tell yourself you can do it.
Or an extra 5 minutes on the treadmill.
Yep. Or the stair
Or
climber,
this
even though all my clients hate that.
or you just or just even changing the level on the stair climber, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, even just start at 5 minutes. Show up, start at 5 minutes, do it.
exactly. So I think you can kind of break up capacity in three parts, right? I think there's physical capacity, which we're talking about strength, endurance, mobility, recovery. I think there's also the mental capacity, right? Which would probably revolve more around discipline, focus, showing up when you don't feel like it. And then you've got the third, which would be like emotional capacity, right? Handling frustrations, dealing with slow progress, not quitting when results don't come fast enough, right? It gets you focused, right? Locked in.
And just get over that. Once you get over that hump, I call it kind of like when you quit smoking and then you just start not to miss it. Same thing with exercising. It becomes part of who you are. And instead of I have to go to the gym, it's I get to go to the gym.
Mm,
And I can't wait to do it.
right. Something you look forward to, right? And that's when your brain gets that dopamine hit where you're like, oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to feel so good again, right?
And then you're happy when you're left. Like, I'm so glad I went to the gym. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
You kind of let that stress of the day out. You let it all out at the gym when you walk in the door.
All those endorphins start pumping through your body, right? Little
And
serotonin.
sometimes people like it's important to set your phone down someplace else. If you got a lot of distractions going on at home, maybe your kids are bothering you, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
Leave your phone. Put the music on, then just leave your phone. Do not disturb. That's your time for you. So you can focus on doing your workout properly.
Correct. Correct. Why do you think people fail when they try to jump back into a workout? And you know what? I think you kind of answered that earlier, right? Because I think one of the things that you did mention, now that I'm just thinking about it, is that they try to chase the old version of themselves.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it too.
Yeah. No,
You gotta make the new version, and it starts with step one.
right.
You know, like NASM, the OPT model. You gotta start at the bottom. You can't just
Yeah.
start where somebody else is. And actually, my first injury was as a beginner at the gym, watching someone else squat
Mm.
massive amount of weight. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And I hurt my back.
Yes. Yes.
So that was a reminder just to kind of take a minute and do what works for me and not worry about what everybody else is.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example of like when people try to match, let's say, their past intensity with their current capacity. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And they just overload too fast and then they either burn out, injury, or just quit.
Like you'll get there. Just take your time. And I feel like people, I mean, you said it before, and I like the phrase is comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. Very good.
And people get too caught up in there. And then, you get sad, you get depressed, you're not where you want to be and why bother? I'm not going. But I've also seen people push through that. And then a year later, they're messaging me, thank you so much. I stuck with it. I'm so glad. And they're getting the results that they want. So it takes time to build muscle. It doesn't happen in a couple of weeks. It takes time.
And that just goes back to it takes time to build capacity too, right? Because
Yeah, that's
if you look at it like a fuel tank, right? Your fuel tank may only be able to hold right now 10 gallons, right? I need a bigger car, a better car with a better engine that holds a bigger tank to be able to put more fuel in it. So for right now, I use what I currently have. And then when I can upgrade, I buy something that has a bigger fuel tank, a bigger engine, more capacity. You see what I'm saying?
that's perfect way of saying it.
Yeah.
And I think people forget how important diet is as well.
Yeah, I think people sometimes miss the boat, right? Because I know at well, you know this because you're in one of my groups. It's the GLP-1 group, right? And I think a lot of people, what they do with the GLP-1 medications is they get super comfortable just taking the medicine and hoping that it's going to fix everything. When in
It's the magic wand.
Right, right. They think this is the magic wand. This is it. I don't have to do anything else. In reality, this is only a tool, right?
It's a stepping.
Right. And I look at it like I'm trying to think of a good example, like supplements, right? Like if you take creatine, you take a protein supplement, and I always tell people the word supplement means in addition to, not replace of. And what people are doing with a lot of these GLP-1 medications is using them in replace of the things that they're supposed to be doing, right? So the things they're supposed to be doing is I need to work out, I need to eat right, I need to get enough sleep, get enough recovery. But they say, I'm just going to take this GLP-1 medication and cross my fingers and wish for the best. And they,
Yeah, and if you don't eat properly with those, you run into a lot of health risks, especially with bone density and everything else. So it's important to fix the root of the problem,
right.
which is the diet,
Yes.
and make sure you're eating healthy foods, high protein.
Yep.
And then that's when you do that right. And then the fitness that's when everything falls in place nice.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Cause I tell everybody the strength training is key. It's a non-negotiable. You have to do the strength
Uh-huh.
training and you have to make sure your diet complements your goals of what you're trying to do. Because some people, unfortunately, are happy just losing weight, even though they're sacrificing muscle, which I say I don't want to do that because
No, because then you get the droop, you wanna be nice and firm, and women wanna look toned, you gotta build the muscle, and I feel like a lot of people, especially women, get worried about being bulky,
mm,
um, but they don't realize is to get that look, it's actually quite a bit effort
yes,
to to look like that. Don't be afraid of strength training,
right,
and a lot of people we talk about protein a lot on social media, you see it a lot, but a lot of people, I don't think they realize how low their protein is.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think people struggle with the amount of protein they actually need to take in to complement the workout that they're currently doing. Because the other thing is, and some people overdo it too. And what I mean by overdoing it is that if you're only going out walking every day and you're on a GLP-1 medication or not, you don't necessarily need 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're a 200-pound woman, you don't need 200 grams of protein when you only walk 3 days a week, right?
Yeah, start the goal small with protein. I feel like people see too many videos online and they think they have to eat this massive amount of protein,
Yeah.
or they get caught up in the grocery scams where it's protein cereal, protein Pop Tarts, or protein this. But if you actually look at the serving sizes for things or the calorie to protein ratio, it's not. really paying off.
Yeah, and it's a lot of preservatives, a lot of sugars, and additional carbs that you weren't taking in account either. And you're wondering, well, why am I not losing weight? I'm eating these protein cookies every day.
Yeah, a perfect example of those is, I won't say the brand, but there's a cookie, it's about this big,
Yeah,
and I was 200 pounds at one point, and I was like, "Why am I not losing this weight? I'm eating the protein
yeah.
cookies." Well, I flipped it over because the calories and protein didn't look bad. It was 2 serving sizes.
Oh, the cook.
So I was eating 2 serving sizes every time I was eating one of those cookies.
Yeah, that's how they get you. That's how they get you.
And people chase the diets too, the "look what I eat in a day" diets. You see that a lot
What is that? Do that?
online, and I feel like I don't like to say the word diet. There's a lot of healthy eating lifestyles, and you have to find what works for you
Uh,
because what works for you might not work for me because we have different lifestyles.
right, right. So, and this is probably another reason why it's so important to find a good gym, a good trainer to kind of help organize that chaos, because it's a lot to think about at certain times, because you get a lot of fluff and stuff thrown at you on a regular basis. So you need someone to help you navigate through that, all that minutia. So I think it's important to find a good trainer, a good gym, somebody that you trust, and somebody who's been getting results with clients. I think it's extremely important because you don't want to get overwhelmed, right? You just want to try to kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid. I think people have to focus on those small victories, right? Those micro wins. They don't have to, everything doesn't have to be a PR. Everything doesn't have to be, I
Yes.
lost 50 pounds, 100 pounds. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm saying you can make small wins, or you can receive small wins just by saying, hey, I worked out 3 times this week. I worked out for 30 minutes instead of 10 minutes. I walked a mile, and before I couldn't walk for 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's, taking those positives instead of looking at the negatives or setting the goalpost so far
Mhm.
away, bring it in a little closer and just keep it
Yeah.
simple. When you stay positive like that, it keeps you wanting to go, go, go. Because those little victories add up over time.
Yes.
And I actually had a client that, um, she had a hard time getting around. She didn't think she'd ever do a 5K. She did a 5K with me. She walked it, but I made her run towards the end,
Hmm.
but she never thought she would be able to do that. But it's because she was consistent for a long period of time and built that up.
Right. Right.
And I always reinforce the positives.
You always say that again. You always do what?
I always reinforce the positive, the little things like, "Oh my god, look at that, 5 pounds in weight this week on the girls. That's awesome."
Right.
And it gets people pumped like, "Yes, you're right." And it takes time. You're like, "Well, I wanna do what you're doing." And I'm like, "Well, it didn't happen overnight for me either.
Right.
It takes time."
Again, right? That's another perfect example of you're trying to start at my chapter 20 when you're only on chapter 2. So,
Yep.
and again, capacity, right? Capacity isn't built in one workout. It's built in repetitions, right? Over time. So you're not going to get or have the same level of capacity that I have. So you have to focus on you. So one thing I wanted to also kind of piggyback off of that capacity comment that I made is that I think most people fail because they try to do more than their capacity can handle too soon. And it's not that you can't get there, it's just the fact you have to understand where you're currently at and make those small changes to reach that ultimate goal that you're trying to reach.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of online videos that we see, TikTok, Instagram, they show you someone's now. There's very few influencers, but they are out there of people that show you their entire journey from beginning to now.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of influencers just show you their now and you can look this awesome and do this and that, but they don't show you how long it took them to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think and again, when you see either how long or when somebody started, and you can see the grit and the grind and the trenches, and they're just working their butts off, then you see the end result, you're like, wow, all right, they did do a lot, right? Versus just seeing,
It takes effort. It takes
takes time, it takes effort. And when you see that beginning, you're like this, I just want to get to the end. And I'm like, no, there's got to be a beginning and a middle. We got to hit those first.
I had someone once tell me they started going to the gym and they're like, "Man, I've been doing this for a month and I haven't seen any results yet." And I'm like, "Well, you're not going to see it in a month. You got to keep doing
Yeah,
it. It's going to take
you,
time."
you got to tell.
And Don't focus on the scale so much either.
Yeah. And you got to also tell them it took you 10 years to get fat. It ain't going to take you a month to be unfat.
Nope, that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
You gotta work harder.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to stay focused. You got to stay motivated, right? And
I wish it happened in a month. I mean, that would be great, but
right. Me too. So, one second. I got to pause. I think another thing that people have to do is manage their time wisely. One phrase I always say to people is that it's not that you don't have enough time, it's that you have too many distractions. You got
exactly.
way too many things going on, and you need to knock off some of those distractions because we all have the same amount of time. So we got to eliminate, reduce, minimize the distractions so you can get to what we're saying should be a priority and what you're saying you want to be a priority.
Yeah, I like to use my Google Calendar and like my workouts for next week.
Mm.
I already picked the days I'm doing it. So you set that time ahead of time. That's your appointment. Just like you treat doctor's appointments, you set that appointment for the gym. And sometimes you have to totally restructure how you plan your entire day. Like I used to do evening workouts after work at 5 o'clock.
Mm.
And then I got busy with training, changing job. I never thought I would get up at 4:30 in the morning to work out, but that's what I have to do to make it happen. So that's what I do. If you want something bad enough, you will sit down, look at the time you have and make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wow, I think we went through everything. I think we just solved everybody's problem in one one workout or not one workout, one podcast episode. But yeah,
My difference.
yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So, but hey, I just want to thank everybody for checking out this episode here of the KISS principles that we're trying to get everybody to focus on, keeping it simple. Make sure, hey, if you're out here, you got some goals, you need to talk to somebody, especially if you're in the Binghamton area, BC Fit. You got to check those out. Check out Carrie. She can help you out, get you going in the right direction. Next thing you know, you're as fit as she is. But again, thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you on another episode, and we're gonna have more great conversations right here at Beyond Wellness. Carrie, you got anything? Any mic drops? Anything you want to leave the people with?
Just show up, make the time. Everybody's got it.
That's right. Build capacity. All right.